That's right, folks, all of them. Welcome back, folks, to the channel. It's your boy Josh, and today is a very special day. Thanks to you guys for getting us to 500 likes on the previous video, one of our trailer react videos. And I'm very excited to bring you guys this video today because we're going to be taking a look at every single banner till the end of 2026. That's right. We are going to be looking at every potential single banner from 3.0 all the way to 3.5. Now, for those who are a little bit skeptical, you have the right to be, because this is technically completely all speculation. So I just want to make that clear. Just, the little asterisks on the side, that this is not any official information, but a lot of this information comes from a lot of patterning, a lot of just understanding the trajectory of the game, how the game is scheduled, how the game is ordered, and to give you guys a really good roadmap, or at least a starting roadmap to what the banners and what the new season could look like going into Zenless 3.0. And don't worry, folks, if you think I'm off the deep end, yes, I'm off the deep end, because we are also going to be speculating about the characters element. So, folks, with the little disclaimer out of the way, let's first start off with 3.0. We are going to easily see our first banners being Valina and Norma, and to whether or not Norma comes first or Valina comes first, honestly, shouldn't really matter too much, but I believe Valina comes first. We already know that Valina is going to be Wind Anomaly, and then Norma, for some godforsaken reason, is going to be Fire Stun. With Valina, you could suspect that the fan, again, is going to be her weapon of choice, but technically TBD. Norma, you see the cannons on her head, but what she actually does, a little TBD. Now, we're still shrouded in mystery, but the elements and their classes pretty solidified there. Now, folks, let's get the party started. As I said before, we are going to be doing the banner previews from 3.0 all the way to 3.5. And just to give you guys a better understanding of why I think it's 3.5, well, it's cleanly because we are going to be doing patches in pairs. We're going to be going 3.0 to 3.1, 3.2 to 3.3, 3.4, and 3.5. So that is 6 patches. And that just makes sense from a schedule perspective. Let's head over to our first new banner. That's right. I suspect we could be getting Ramielle as our summer character. With so many gacha games out there and so many characters to grab, it can feel overwhelming. Trust me, I know. Well, that's where today's sponsor comes in, Aniba. Aniba is the best place to top up for our gacha faves. All we have to do is put in our UID, region, select your package, and in no time flat, we're back in business. And the savings are pretty sweet because depending on your region, you can get upwards of 60% cash back. And Aniba's amazing Trustpilot rating, you can top up with confidence alongside 24/7 customer support. They're here for us, folks. With 30,000, I'm sorry, seriously? Dude, that's nuts. Well, 30,000 digital products and growing. Make sure to sign up to Aniba with me so that we can start saving you more cha-ching. Click the link below to let Aniba know they sent you, and thanks to Aniba for supporting the channel. Now, this one was a toss-up. We can easily see one other character being the highlight character. Very easily, it could even be Storyteller, I think. And you'll see the reason why in a second. Is this to say that Ramielle is going to be the exact character? Who knows? But let's show you guys the elements and the class, and I'll explain why I think so in a second. And Ramielle is going to be potentially Ether Anomaly / Ether Support. Now, I know that sounds very boring to folks. And for good reason. Ether Anomaly, there have been a couple of Ether Anomalies out there, and there have been, quite a few Ether Supports out there. However, I think Ramielle is going to be quite different in how she functions and how she plays, to where I think the class and the element is justified. Now, I mentioned Storyteller before. It was my initial thought going into this whole video that I was like, okay, 3.1 might just have one character. And if it's going to have one character, is it going to be a highlight character like Ramielle, or it could even be just one of the story teased characters like Storyteller? I think Storyteller has a lot of mystique, firstly. Secondly, I think has a greater purpose within the grander story of 3.x, to where I could very easily see the Storyteller being the character of 3.1. The reason I only put one character versus what we saw in the previous season 2 where we had Alice and Yall, I think if we're going to have one character, it's going to be a grand slam. We're just going to have that one character. And if it's the anniversary, very easily we could see Ramielle. Now, there is another theory, and we can easily look to HSR with Cyrene. Cyrene came relatively later in the cycle of Amphoris, and this could potentially mean that Ramielle gets pushed back towards the end if she has a similar timeline. Now, me personally, I wouldn't like that at all, because if Cyrene came earlier in the life cycle, it would have been so much better, because again, you'd be able to use her with said Amphoris characters, with the characters aligned with the Trailblaze. Here, I don't think Ramielle is going to be that type of character. That should be determined. In my eyes, more canonically, more story-wise, it seems like Ramielle has a more selfish role to play in the story, in that she is going to Riscalifer and confronting Sunbringer in that trailer for her more personal gain. So whether to either learn more about her history as a Dan, who knows? But when it comes to Ramielle, seen as, again, this is more of, again, trailer speculation, Ramielle has her own individualistic storyline to be played out, to where I think she's going to be the lone character of 3.0. And I think it makes sense. It makes sense. The anniversary character coming as the lone single character to pull. Maybe we get an A rank in the little beetle munchkin girl, line with the same faction as Norma and Velina. If you guys saw in the trailer, we might even see her as an A rank in this banner. Who knows? But when it comes to Ramielle, I think Ramielle is able to stand alone as a single character of a patch. Maybe 3.1 is 5 weeks. Who knows? But Ramielle is Ether. I don't think there's too much question around that, unless her wings determine that she's wind. Very easily she could be another wind character, and then she could be a wind support. That's my offshore theory. But Ramielle 3.1, I think, has a very, very strong basis to be the anniversary character, or it could be Sunbringer, Storyteller, one of the big ones. We're looking at a big one. 3.1 is a big patch. We're looking at a big fish to fill that slot in the 3.1 banner. Now, we are going to be slowing down a little bit past 3.1. Let's look at 3.2 with some of the new characters of the Blacksmith faction, I believe. I really don't know if they are aligned with the Blacksmiths. They were talking about some iron thing-majigger in the trailer, but we do know their names, Clarette and Roxy. And, arguably they are the most individualistic, like, looking characters of the entire just teaser in its entirety. I think these two characters look absolutely amazing. I know a lot of Tsundere fans are going to love Clarette. Roxy being like more like scene girl, I think is going to be super, super cute. She has, at least one or two of them have like, vampire vibes, very excited to see what we get to in 3.2. Yes. Especially as 3.2 rolls us into Halloween. I don't believe technically it lies on Halloween, if I remember correctly, but it's pretty darn close. It's like August, September. So getting, the Halloween characters early would be nice. Their elements. What could they be, Josh? Well, this one, I'm a little bit more speculative, even more so than the previous one. And that being Ramielle. One of them is going to be wind. If none of them are wind, I knock my socks off. If none of them are wind, knock my socks off. I think Roxy is more than likely going to be the wind character, and then more than likely going to be wind and support, because we're not going to have a wind support character. There's only a very, very small handful of characters that could fill that wind support slot. Roxy could be it. Roxy could be the Jshoea of 3.x very easily, and then Clarette's a little bit more of an offensive character in my eyes, but the roles could be switched. Who knows? Again, the twin tails, the red highlights in her hair, and a lot of the themes with Clarette could lead us to fire, but very easily she could be another theme entirely. She could be ice, I think is my offshore theory, which is curious, but hey, that's what this video is about, right? A little theorizing. Let's move to 3.3, folks. In 3.3, we're headed towards the end game. This is the mid game here. We're headed towards the end game, but this is the mid game. We're at Seagreed and Phoenix. More particularly, we got Dudu and you know, a mix of like what Fu Hua and you know, a mix of Hersher of the Void, and you know, just a bunch of really HI3 themed characters here, both with Seagreed and Phoenix. Now, I'm not gonna spoil the story of Durandal. I'm not gonna spoil the story of, you know, some of the related characters that, you know, Phoenix is an amalgamation of. You guys should go play HI3. But when it comes to Seagreed, when it comes to Phoenix, you guys care about what classes and elements they are. Let's take a look. Seagreed could be a few things. I can see ice, but I can definitely see physical. And that comes a little bit with the lore to it. So we could either see a physical attack, physical defense. Very easily, we could even see physical rupture. Very curious. And we did get, by this time, we are getting a physical rupture character in Billy. So very curious as to see if we actually get another character in that slot. I mean, we technically have Monato as a fire rupture and then Banya, but Seagreed could be ice, could be physical, could be attack or defense. I think those archetypes very easily align with the type of character that Seagreed is. And then, of course, you know, the balance of the banners. We're trying to strike a balance with the banners. And then Phoenix all the way down could be fire support. We haven't really gotten a purist, more fire oriented support, or just, you know, a premium fire support in general. Of course, we have Lucy, but we don't have a premium fire support. Could be Phoenix, very easily. Could be Phoenix. Or she just could be a juggernaut of an offensive character. Very easily, we could see her fire rupture, I think would be really cool outside of Banya. Next, this one is contentious. This one is quite contentious. This is the 3.4 patch. Now, 3.4 historically has been, you know, a really strong patch, I would say, just because it's had characters like Miyabi, and then it's also had characters like Dialin, to where I could very easily see that Storyteller, being quite the impactful story character, could show up as the impactful character of 3.4, and that leaves Severian in the male slot. It is what it is. It kind of is what it is, folks. I'm not gonna lie, right? Severian is a dude, you know, he is, you know, he is not above the rules, unfortunately. And more than likely, we're gonna see Severian behind a really, and I mean really big patch. And is why we put him in 3.4. So when it comes to their classes and elements, let's take a look what they're gonna be. Folks, I ain't gonna cap you. I think one of the most locked in, call me out for huffing hopium, but I think the most confirmed element and class for a character out of the entire cast would be Severian. I think Electric Rupture just fits him so well. And man, we do have a lack of electric characters. Severian is definitely a candidate to fit that role, and to be our first Electric Rupture character, I think would be super cool. Again, as being the lone male of the 3.x patches so far, again, doesn't mean we aren't going to get any male characters in 3.6, 7, 8, but as being the lone male character of the main storyline patches, you know, Severian's going to be special. You know, I understand a lot more people want a better male ratio, but when it comes to the quality of the males, they're almost unbeat, man. Yeah, Lighter, Hugo, then I mean, Monato, a little bit, you know, Panya, so I can understand. Banya, cool. S rank, Starlight Knight Billy, cool. Now we have Severian. The males are pretty peak. Then let's get to Storyteller. Storyteller being Ether. Again, that silver, I believe, is going to be some form of refined porcelain, you know, mix that she's going on very easily. Very easily. There's a lot of really cool lore stuff to Storyteller, as the butterfly oversees the entirety of the trailer. As you guys know, the butterfly was flying around, going with the bang boo. Yeah, that was storytelling. So to whether she's trapped or to whether she's just wanting to oversee the story and you know, just oversee the balance of Rascalifer, is to be determined about where storyteller lies in the actual story of 3.x. But what I can be potentially sure of is that she's aligned to Ether, just because she has control of, you know, again, the metal, the porcelain, very easily. Alongside Ramielle, could we see that she has control of Ether, and that would potentially line her up to be an Ether anomaly, Ether support, you know, Ether stun potentially. I can't really see it, or even just another Ether rupture. I think would be interesting. If she's Ether attack, I'll give you guys 10 subs. That's probably like the least likely for me. But the reason why I put anomaly and support again against Ramielle is that if one of them is a certain archetype, the other will be the other. So let's say if Ramielle is the anomaly, then Storyteller will be the support. Or if Ramielle is the support, we could see Storyteller being the anomaly. I think would strike a nice balance there. And now, even, you know, before we mention the classes and whatnot, I did mention the male syndrome of Zenless Zone 0. The men always coming before the big patches. Folks, let's not beat around the bush. 3.5 is going to be Sunbringer. Now, as I mentioned before, we could easily see from a story perspective that Sunbringer actually comes earlier, and we could see that Sunbringer actually even comes in that 3.1 anniversary slot. Could be fun, could be interesting. Very much dependent on where the character is introduced in the story, but in my personal opinion, we could see Sunbringer as the last character to show up in the mainline 3.x story, or could be slotted in with Ramielle. There's a couple ways you can shuffle around that slot. 3.5 is going to belong to a lone character. Let's just be honest, right? Maybe we get like a free character like we did with Yeshengwang and Zhao, but more than likely the patch is going to belong to a just straight up mainline character, and that is going to be potentially Sunbringer. Now, what's Sunbringer's type? A lot of people are keen in on fire, which would make sense, but don't doubt that we could potentially see wind. Never count Zenless out. Never count Zenless out to just throw us weird curveballs. Never doubt them. And then when it comes to the class itself, very easily we could see some fire going on, some anomaly going on, some just a little bit more offense. A little bit more offense with Sunbringer. I'd be very curious to see if we got Void Hunter support. You know, again, Sunbringer is a Void Hunter leveled entity. In my, you know, canon right now is what I see it. Sunbringer steps down from the Void Hunter role to run Rascalifer. So if that's the case, and she's that Yishen type of character, we could see her slot into that 3.1 slot. We could see her be a support. I would love that. And it'd be really cool. But that's not all, folks. You thought we were done? Oh, we're not done quite. Because yes, we talked about the 3.0 and the 3.5 characters. We talked about their potential elements, but there were a few more characters shown in the teaser. Let's talk about the A ranks. Let's talk about the potential A ranks. And as you guys can see, little Nahida, little Beetle Girl, more than likely is going to be our A rank. The reason being is that all the characters who are supposedly S rank were introduced in the banners with their voice actors on Twitter. Again, including all these characters. You see all these banners. All these were the characters that were introduced, but there were some not touched upon. And in particular, one very notable character was codenamed Nahida. I don't know her name yet as of this recording. Codenamed Nahida. More than likely, she's going to be the A rank. She's going to be the Panyinhu, the Manato of 3.x. And could we see another A rank character being one of the potential proxies? I wouldn't say proxies, I would say, you know, Helios Academy students also being introduced easily. Again, they also potentially have implants to where they can also wield a stand. They could also wield an etheric other. So very easily, we could see us as the proxies going into 3.0 as you know, one slide that I didn't put here is that we are getting Pyroas for free as a story character. Really cool. And then, of course, as we go through the story, potentially, we're going to get the Mindscapes. We're going to unlock the full potential of Pyroas. And along the way, we could see us teaming up with the Helios Academy siblings, or I don't know what the relation is there, friends, colleagues, whatever. And they also wield an etheric gun. Really cool. Or they could be an op. Who knows? Who knows how they're going to spin the story? I think they're going to be a little bit more friendly. But yeah, I think there is a potential for them to be A rank, as we have a very, very just stark lack of A rank support, available A rank support, right? And I mean support in the sense of like, we just need some A ranks, available characters that are a little bit more budget, not in the support class. And what those characters are, I genuinely don't freaking know. I don't know any of these characters. Maybe one of them is an anomaly. I don't know. The Purple Girl, you know, is Vivian 2.0. Who knows? And then one other character I really want to point out as not playable is your Damien type of character, is your Jshoea type of character. Sorry, Nick. And that's Mr. Luocha, Mr. Auto Apocalypse, Mr. NPC. Yeah. Zenless is no better than a Hoyo game to make one of the, you know, just very, very obscure male NPCs the larger bad, or one of the larger antagonists of the story. No better than a Hoyo game, Zenless is. And very easily we could see that this, you know, lead researcher or general or whatever, you know, talking to another researcher, this could be the auto type of character very easily. And this theory comes in alignment with us introducing Sigrid to the fold. Play HI3, please. please at least read. You know, again, you will be spoiled if you read. You will be spoiled, and it's a big spoiler. Dude is one of my favorite characters of all of HI3. For good reason. So please. Again, Sigrid was my favorite character teased in the entire trailer. Roll back the tape, post-edit Josh. Roll back the tape on how excited I was for Sigrid.
No way!
It's Doodoo! We're getting Doodoo! No way! Yes! Doodoo! And that's how excited I was. So you guys can be very, very sure that I don't think I'm gonna M6 Sigrid, but I will be invested into her, and very, very closely looking at how she fits into the story, how she fits into the game, you know, play wise. Yeah, Sigrid, one of my most anticipated characters that was not teased before, alongside, of course, the Ramielles of the world, the Sunbringers of the world, yes, and now this NPC. Very curious who he's gonna be. But let me know down in the comments, and if you guys think I was completely wrong on one of the characters, because I always am, you know, the misinformation, let me know down in the comments. So I hope that you guys stick around by subscribing to the channel as we cover more Zenless. I will be having an Arknights video, you know, just an offshore extra off Arknights video, how I won an Arknights tournament and how I won a $10,000 tournament. Stick around.